Scott. I'm Russell.
I'm Leo. This is Spitball. Welcome to Spitball, where three eccentric electricians and a guest empty our heads of startup and tech product ideas that we have stuck up in there so you can all have them for free. Anything that we say is yours to keep. This week, I believe, Scott, you brought our guest. Is that right?
I did. I am very excited to introduce Richard, who I work with the same engineering company. Richard's a product development engineer, IT professional, and team lead there. He's probably brought more products and projects to market than all of us combined. He's a mechanical engineer, laser enthusiast, 3D printing master, and a pilot, honestly.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, welcome, Richard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you. Fellow IT man, we got to represent.
That's right.
It's good to have more diverse representation on this show. Okay, this week to get us warmed up, I want to throw a little game around here that I'm going to call this time, but can it run Doom? Literally, I'm just going to go down the line here and throw things out there, and you need to tell me if it's something that I made up or if someone has actually gotten Doom running on this hardware. Are you ready? And we do, as always, we got to start with our guest, Richard. I'm going to start off here with the Honeywell Prestige thermostat, a small color LCD thermostat. Did someone, yes or no, get it running Doom?
I would say yes.
Absolutely. In 2017, a developer named CZ7ASM got a whole hacked thermostat thing going. It's the best.
Love nerds.
Wow.
Scott, a Walmart self-checkout kiosk.
I hope to God, yes. Please say yes.
I made that one up.
No!
Not yet. Although it's probably just like a full Windows PC in there, right? Or some Linux-based thing. You probably could get it pretty easily. Nothing yet, but look out at DEF CON 2025. Russell, a pregnancy test.
What? There's no way. How could it run it? There's no way. No.
That's what inspired this game. There's a guy, a programmer who is on Twitter he calls himself Foon Turing. In 2020, there was this little tiny monochrome LCD display that would say pregnant or not. And he put some buttons on it and a different CPU, and he got it running Doom.
Oh my!
What kind of processor does a pregnancy test have?
That's what I'm wondering.
A little ARM Cortex thing to make the screen work, and boom, you're off to the races. Richard, the AirTag smart Bluetooth device tracker.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, no, I made that one up.
I'm like,
Very
don't you
good.
need a screen for that one? It's running Dune, trust me.
If someone gets a pregnancy test working, though, right? Maybe I'd throw you for a
Fair.
loop. Scott, a John Deere tractor.
I'm going to go back to the no screen on this one and say no.
Someone got the whole instrument cluster and everything running Doom.
No way.
Yeah, 100%. And you can even use this like sticks and stuff to input. It's hilarious.
As
Yeah,
your
in 2022, it was at DEF CON actually. A group that called themselves Sick Codes. Got it. They were highlighting all the security vulnerabilities in agriculture equipment and how smart all these tractors have gotten and stuff. But yep, it runs Doom.
That's a good demo. I respect that.
Right, exactly. Russell, the Samsung Smart Fridge.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah,
gotta
absolutely.
have
That one had to.
Yeah. In 2020, there was a developer posted a video of him running Doom on his fridge. It's the best. One more time through. Richard, the MacBook Pro Touch Bar. Just the Touch Bar.
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, someone put the whole UI on the little tiny long monochrome OLED screen.
Wow.
Scott, a Coinstar machine.
I mean, if you can do it on a pregnancy test, I'm going to say yes to a Coinstar.
I made that one up. I'm sorry.
No, new life goal now.
Yeah. And lastly, Russell, last one of the night. The IKEA Tradferi light bulb.
What?
A smart bulb.
No. There's no way. It's a light bulb.
Yeah, someone added a screen and a button to it and got it running Doom. It's hilarious. Yeah, so apparently a lot of them have ESP32s or other ARM chips in them to receive the Wi-Fi radio waves and change the light bulb. So someone put a screen on it and boom, you're good. Hilarious.
If only we used that human potential for something good. Something productive. Now run Doom on it. Let's run Doom on stuff.
Famous 1993 game. It's been more platforms than anywhere else. I learned also in the research for this that there's 3 separate projects for getting Doom running on the TI-83 calculator.
I swear you were going to say that one for tonight.
Yeah. It was a little too obvious, I thought. All right. Who's up first this week?
I think you are, Leo.
Me? Yeah, I can go first, sure. So I actually pitched Scott in person on this idea a little while ago. I was pretty hyped up about it, and then he told me, "Oh, I think Disher had a project that was kind of like what you're describing." So it's perfect that you're here tonight, Richard. I love the summertime activity of drawing roads and parking lots and stop signs and stuff with chalk in your driveway or in a parking lot somewhere, and having your kid drive around on a bike, right? And I think it would be so fun to amp up. I know if I were a kid, I would feel pretty hyped if there was a working traffic light in that. So I want to build and productize a little toy traffic light that the parent can have a remote for, and it can go into a timer mode. You can set up a couple of them along the route, maybe even like, I don't know, blinking yields and blinking arrows and stuff too, where like you've got the remote where you can say, yes, put it into regular 10-second timer mode, or kids running at it right now. I'm going to hit yellow on my little remote and turn red. And then, the kids, we're having so much fun. I think it'd be such a fun toy to have a little smart traffic light. You could 3D print it. You just need a ring of LEDs and a little like Arduino ESP30. It'd be pretty easy to get something like that up and running. I would buy one. That's the whole pitch. Traffic light toy.
I have so much respect for little kids and lights now with my brother. My brother's kids, they have one of those like LED things outside of the bedroom where it's like you can't come out until the light is green, and they just follow it. I don't know what age that goes away, but it's very powerful right now.
When I'm driving around town, my toddler in the backseat's always like, "Why are we stopped? It's green now," or whatever. It's like, no, it's not green yet, honey. Or what color is that one up there?
Oh,
yeah.
This sounds crazy, but like you could use this for like driving schools, or like
Sure.
in 50 when you're 50, just like trying to
Bumper
get a
cars.
bunch of kids to pay attention. Like, yep, this is just the rules of the road. Like, yeah, bumper cars, right? You
Sure.
could
Yeah.
replace the Sims with actual like, all right, you're in a go-kart, you're gonna go around this lot, and your test is you driving on a go-kart, because those are pretty cheap now too. They're like $500 for a Segway. For one of those
Get
Segway
a bunch
ones.
of kids on them and let them ruse.
Hey, I mean, it's safer than, and probably cheaper than those. I don't know if you guys had like those old simulators in high school, or like if you did the driving school in
No.
like the boxes and like literally wheels, and they would track your score. I don't know. They seemed really expensive back in, I don't know. My high school had like a 30, like these old ones. But anyways, like you can use that to test kids, like, and just get them through training, just more hours on the road and paying attention. So
let's get them driving even earlier. I love this.
Yeah.
hey, it's what, yeah.
The McElroys, my brother and me did a TV show of 6 episodes that's really delightful. But in that, they described kind of what you're talking about, where they had a thing in their small West Virginia town called Safety Town. And it was a bunch of little like electric bumper car-y type things in a small scaled miniature like course. And it was like a little town, and they'd tear the kids loose on it and say, learn how to obey traffic flow and all that. Yeah, it'd be great for something like that.
I think in the Holland area we have a group called Velo Kids, where they teach lower L kids how to ride bikes, and they got a bunch of those balance bikes, the scoot bikes. Not sure of the brand name, but they totally would have a heyday with those street lights on a course in a parking lot, and teach the kids not only how to balance and how to ride, but what to do at a corner, at a stop sign or a stoplight or whatever, stop, look for traffic. And of course you're going to have to make bike traffic go both, four-way stop or a two-way stop or whatever, just to make, potential crash opportunities.
Of course.
I got to learn early.
It's amazing. The balance bike to riding a full bike pipeline is so much better than the training wheels that we had as
For
a kid.
sure.
Like my 4-year-old thrives on his pedal bike now, and there was so little adjustment. It's really, really cool. And I know my 2 kids would love this.
I love the simplicity of the traffic light is so good, Leo. Like an MVP is exactly what you said. ESP32, 3D print a housing, start selling it on Etsy or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Kids' toys, like smart, quote unquote, even with a dumb little remote and no Wi-Fi, like so expensive, some of these things. Like what you were talking about, the LED light for when you wake up in the morning. My kids have, I think it's Hatch, and it's like $150 for a little speaker and a
Why?
charging circuit and a battery and a light, a LED light. and it has, an app, so they have to maintain some kind of server infrastructure, but it is like $4 worth of parts, and it kills me every time, right?
There's 5 pre-recorded tracks on there for different white noise, and that's all you get. Nope, not a smart speaker. Definitely not a smart speaker, right? So they don't want it to become that. So yeah, that's
sounds like it needs to play Doom.
that's for sure. Totally could, probably.
Totally could. Yeah.
Okay, I think there's a lot of like outside of the toy aspect. Like imagine when when the street light goes down, you have a bunch of cops or whatever, like traffic people drive around with like 4 of these little ones in the back of their car. It's definitely safer than being in the road.
And they hold it. They stand in the middle of the street and just hold it.
You throw up you attach like a tripod, a quick little retractable tripod. You throw it on the road, and now instant traffic control, safer than having a cop in the middle of the road. They can manually, let's say, use the exact same timing that came in the original streetlight, but now when it goes down, you could have like a cop or whatever, a service officer just go around and drop a bunch of those for like 3 or 4 streetlights back to normal.
Cool idea. Yeah.
During a power outage. That's fantastic.
Yeah, especially like when there's a disaster, like you got a ton of people probably trying to get around. You need something like that. You don't want more accidents, and boom, easy. Keep those and those could probably sell. That's where you sell it for like $8,000 a package or something, That's the economies of scale.
I mean, they're disposable at that point. Yeah, for sure. One-time use. Seal in the battery. Take that, Mother Earth.
Not rechargeable.
It's capitalism.
That's great.
You got to have one of those pull tabs, like when you get the toy, you got to pull the little thin plastic thing out so the battery can be contacted more. Yeah.
Part of the reason I'm thinking about this as a product is because I bought a full-size traffic light recently, like a standard auction was on the street one.
Oh, cool.
And today I put it up on our wall.
It's up.
I ripped out all of the incandescent stuff. Yeah, I told Scott about this. I ripped out all the incandescent relays and stuff and just put in 3 rings of 12 LEDs in there and an ESP32. And when our server status dashboard is green, it's green. And when it's got, partial downtime or maintenance, it's yellow. And if there's a major outage, it's red and it blinks and stuff. It's really, really, really easy to get this kind of thing up and running, right?
Nice.
It seems like I'm doing this work and it's like, man, I could just not buy a decommissioned light from Facebook Marketplace, but instead, put it in a little 3D printed housing, and my kids would love this too.
Did you make the whole electronic remote control thing, or I guess you
it's
did?
Not remote controlled. No, it's just going to the internet and pulling every 30 seconds. Like, what's the current server status?
Okay,
it's wall art for our office. It's not a toy.
Lug that around on your back.
They're made of plastic now. It wasn't that heavy. After I took out the metal mounting brackets and stuff, it's pretty light.
Huh.
I always forget how big they are.
Huge.
Yeah,
It's like 4 or 5 feet tall. Yeah, that's just another example of one of those pitches where it's just something that I want personally in my life.
I think almost all your pitches are, and I respect that.
Gotta have passion for it.
Well, that's a good transition to me. This is one that I want and absolutely don't need, and probably would make the world worse, honestly. But I want this.
Okay.
All right, I had 2 things happen to me recently that made me think this. One, I watched Spinal Tap, if you haven't seen that fake documentary in a while. And 2, my sister-in-law always does her 1-second videos. Have you ever seen that app where you take a 1-second clip every day throughout the year and puts it together, and it just kind of shows you what you did throughout the year? They're great.
Yeah.
I'm going to put $1 in the AI swear jar and say, I want an AI-driven service that would automatically create a documentary of my life about me. And it was just using a combination of my entire digital footprints, all my Google photos, videos, social media posts. Hell, I'd even get probably not email, but voice notes or text, and just make all the highlights, birthdays, vacations, major milestones with a narrator. We'll have Morgan Freeman in the back just describing what Scott is doing and going about in his life.
Interesting.
That is what I want.
You can send that to your family as a Christmas card.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like Spotify Wrapped or whatever, but whatever customized time period you want. Maybe the
Yep.
last 10 years of my life, or maybe there aren't many companies that are positioned super well to do this except for Google and maybe Facebook if you're a big Facebook person.
But I feel like you could, with ChatGPT 5 now and just all the image and video recognition now, you could, you threw me off. It's not out yet, but what they're talking about with
Sure. Yeah.
you could have a pretty good narration and probably
Yeah.
weirdly accurate too of what's happened in your life.
Hallucinates a little bit. It's like, remember when you got that divorce? You're like, oh, I don't, I don't remember that. Thanks, Gemini.
Generate the video in between
Yeah,
if it's missing something ever.
right.
Here's a render of Scott going to the opera.
That's fun. I feel like we are predisposed as salts of the earth Midwesterners here to like be humble about it ourselves and meek and mild and all that. But I would totally watch a video of my own life. I'm vain
Right?
enough to like enjoy that. Yeah.
I feel like we're humans. Most people are. That's why social media took off. We want to see ourselves like online.
Why do you think the world would be worse with this?
Because I'm giving an AI direct access to all these more things that I'm already probably shouldn't in the first place.
Yeah.
Remember when the test results came back? Oh yeah, thanks,
Get even-
narrator.
Crazy heavier targeted ads.
Oh no. Why'd my insurance go up this year? Oh, I gave my health records to ChatGPT.
I think I watch all the time like these videos that I get on like Apple Photos that is like, remember this trip
Right?
Yeah.
3 months or like a year and a half ago, and you're like, whoa, I do now, right? It's just like it's an awesome experience to like relive something really quickly, right? And so like even in a
Nope,
short
I want a
burst,
2-hour feature film, man.
but right, I think
Yeah.
like why not at the end of the year celebrate the year, right? You know?
And Google Photos did that, but it's still only just the year. If you could take every one of those that's been generated or whatever and try to find through lines and plots, and oh yeah, every time you wore that shirt, you were doing these things, or that time that you were with this person once a year for 5 years in a row, it was this thing that you do, or try to like draw patterns and stuff. That's what AI is best at, right?
Dude, it'd be so weird to like see my wife's 2-year documentary or like my kids' 2-year documentary. Just like,
Yeah.
whoa, there's so much that you're living outside of what I know, especially when you're like really close with them, right? So it's like that would be nuts to watch somebody else's too.
That's how you find out about the affair. Boy, the Pablo's always hanging around. Look at all those photos you have.
Yeah.
It's just a friend. It's just a friend.
She always wears this when she's with or doesn't wear this.
Yeah, right.
All right, Russell, what do you got this week?
Yes. So, all right, this week, okay, I was thinking about so I work in the stormwater industry, right? And so one of the things that comes up a lot is people, whenever it rains, people like have a problem with like puddles or ponding or issues on the road. And my tech experience, there's this site called Down Detector that's like self-reported, like, oh, is this website down? And literally your first Google search always brings you to Down Detector or something. And it's literally just a website with people self-reporting that it's down. And it's sometimes actually more often than not more reliable than the actual site that is down, because
The status dashboard,
yeah, there's probably some bureaucracy. They're like, oh, do we want to release this information that we're down for 10 seconds? And then sure enough, like an hour later, we are experiencing some downtime, right? But like Down Detector told me an hour and a half before, like, okay, it's down. I can tell everybody on Slack, like, stop bugging me. I know Gmail's down or whatever, right? So I guess I was thinking you could do this in a bunch of other ways, and more thinking like local community and GPS. So like when you're seeing flooding or a fire or a street light being down or all these other things, Waze, a cop, like Waze does that really well. So it's kind of like combining social reporting, but more for like the problem, right? And I think what's really cool about it is that data is so valuable, because if you see reports in a common location all the time, like even like something like a lot of trash accumulates here. You report anything, right? So we just encourage any nuisance reporting.
Oh no.
And it just turns into like, well, we probably should solve a problem here. And whether that's like a community coming together and being like, wow, there is a lot of bad stuff going on here, or we should solve this problem. Like now it's publicly available, self-reported, and anybody can maybe solve that problem, right? But simply put, it's report a problem in your community.
Karen.com.
I was having a conversation with one of the guys that I work with this afternoon, and he said that, and I don't think it works anymore, but in Kent County, they had an app that you could pin potholes and graffiti.
Really?
Graffiti.
Yeah. And he said he got so many potholes repaired in like short order. And then just a little while ago, he went to use it again because he moved outside of the city limits.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still in Kent County a lot. So, but he went to use the app again, and it's not working.
Oh, sounds like there was market validation there, Russell.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting, but it's kind of on the same regards as what you're talking about, Russell.
Yeah, potholes, graffiti. That's a great one. Like that's just stuff I want. Somebody should take care of. I'm not. That's as far as I want to go. Is I just want to report it and move on, right? But
It's step one. You're right.
It seems like your customer would not be just the public. I mean, it could be, I guess, direct to consumer, but your customer could be a partnership with the local, municipalities and utilities and stuff, right? You go to them and say, hey, deploy this, advertise it, whatever, in your town. We'll facilitate it. We'll keep it running. Heck, maybe you even like show ads to the users and you make it free for the, municipalities to have, or cheap or something. And then, or you get double income, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But then,
No.
you facilitate the talk so that there's crowdsourcing and they don't have to figure out how to make an app.
It's weird because, like, if your goal is to drive traffic to your app or website, like, reporting stuff is honestly a great way to do that. People,
Totally.
but complaining about something like, this is bad, I want this fixed, I want to tell people. That'd be great for ads and revenue.
Yeah, and I think local governments hate receiving those reports. Like the front
Puts
desk
them all
lady
in one spot.
doesn't know who to direct it to. Yeah, there's a pothole. Okay. Who do I send it to?
Especially if it's like an empty text box and you're getting all the like, I hated that my neighbor left their lawn chair out front, or there's all the like cruft. If you can somehow whittle this down to predefined categories like Waze does, or somehow have the flow, and then everyone who picks other just gets thrown away or something. I don't know.
You keep it hosted, just one website, it'll automatically put you it has your location on there, and so it'll put you in the right district. I really like this idea, Russell.
You could gamify it like Waze did and have like the leaderboards.
Yeah.
Wow, this guy's a graffiti champ. He unlocked the graffiti award,
And then you could even like report when it got solved, right? And give a bunch of kudos to all those people that reported it,
That's a great one.
And
Yeah.
If you get the municipality in there, like marking them as done, then they're giving out like free city bucks or whatever. Yeah. For sure.
not just notoriety. I want to be top dog in my reporting.
City points.
City points, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so simple to sell this, because like you're selling it to the municipality for them to market it, but it's not costing them anything outside of just promoting it themselves.
Yeah.
Everyone wins here.
I think it'd be fun too, just to see everybody complaining about certain things. It's kind of like Nextdoor, but geolocation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. And it's all, recorded forever on here. You literally use that as their filing system for complaints.
Yeah.
Any local government.
You gotta figure out the bullying aspect.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's like a whole gossip scene around our local Facebook groups that center around our town, where it's like
That's true.
the meta narrative of, oh, can you believe this happened over there again kind of stuff. You have to somehow skirt that. And I think the predefined categories is one way to do that.
Mm-hmm. The McDonald's on 32nd is on fire again. That's its own category.
See you next week.
Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe we do the Waze thing where is there a cop still here, or is there a fire still here, and just have a little bit of a rotation.
Is that McDonald's still burning down, by the way? I just thought I'd ask. No big deal, no hurry, but just curious. Is the library burning to the ground?
Is it still on fire? Right?
It would be kind of fun to troll it. There's been a nuclear incident downtown or something.
Yeah, that makes me think there's probably the reporting would might be different. It might be more like sustained, right? Because you have your like reports of there's a big cop showdown or whatever, lots of sirens at Centennial Park, right? I see that all the time in like Holland Informed or whatever, right? So it's just none of that. Maybe it is more stuff that's permanent. That's probably niching
and
out.
auto gets filtered into that miscellaneous category over there.
Yeah.
The idea of trolling you by dropping a pin on your house every day that says it's just full of shit. There is poop all over this yard again every day.
Massive hoarding.
Every time you open this app, it's going to be like, is there still poop in your yard? You're like, no, stop saying there is.
Yeah, the trolling would be real.
It would.
We'd have to ban people. We'd have to have a moderation system. Oh, man.
I would wear a ban from this app as a badge of honor.
Your city bucks. You're gonna be. You're not gonna get your city bucks now, Leo.
Ah, dang it.
Yeah. There's an element of like report a liar is what I'll put on there.
Publicly, you need a way to like publicly flog and shame these people, right? How do you make trolling not fun on this thing like this?
Yeah.
My neighbor would used to, I think it was Holland Informed, he would troll them. Whenever it rained super hard, the drains on our street just don't work and it would always flood. It would flood every time. And he would just get his kayak out with his kids and they'd kayak up and down 17th Street.
Oh, awesome.
And then he would post pictures on Holland Informed to be like, can someone fix this? So
Nice.
he was just ahead at the time.
And long after they fix it, he's still posting those photos from 4 years prior.
He saved them.
I thought we fixed that.
100%. Scott, were you sledding and tubing behind a car? Was that you guys in college?
That was me.
No. Oh, that was not me.
Yeah.
Open the tailgate and go down on a snow day down the road with a sled.
Yep. And then the cops
Yeah.
pulled us over. And literally,
How'd you explain that one?
well, it was funny because I was like sitting in the sled and he pulled up right behind me and then walked past
Cut her
me
loose, cut her loose.
to the car driver. And you're like, I wonder if he was going to talk to me like up, because I'm like driving the sled, It was awesome.
What did he do? Did you get a ticket?
I think they told us to stop, and then that was it.
that makes sense.
It was awesome, though.
That's so
Highly
fun.
recommend if you. But
You should ask, can we hook onto the back of your car and do it with the lights and siren?
We need a police escort. Stat. That's like the kind of thing you take a picture of and say, won't someone plow these streets? Jesus.
Yeah.
Put it in your app.
that's true.
There's a person who made an anonymous Facebook page where they spray painted penises over potholes all over their city in the UK.
Yeah.
And he named himself Wanksy.
Oh wow!
And this person did that on purpose so that the municipality would have to go and fix it and clean it up. And while they were there, they'd fix the pothole.
I love that.
So funny.
I've seen the Domino's ones before, where Domino's just fixes them and puts their logo on top of it.
Whoa!
On public
Be like,
roads.
fixed by Domino's, you're welcome.
Oh, jeez. On
Oligarchy.
big
right
corporations.
There. Yeah. It's,
I hate that.
all right, Richard. What do you have for us this week?
Well, I do have a product idea that I'm working on, and hopefully Scott's going to help me with it, so I can talk about that one at least first.
Let's do it.
I've been helping Velo Kids here in the Holland area, and they're a nonprofit, and their goal is to really get kids on bikes. And as a nonprofit, you really want to be able to communicate to your donors and the community on what kind of a difference you're making. And right now, the only metric that they're able to really report is how many kids they got on bikes. But I thought it would be really cool if we were to be able to create a device to install on a bike that we could track how many miles and, potentially even show, give parent an access to an app and actually show them the trail that they rode and how fast they went.
Yeah.
And, a lot of these are camps and stuff. So, during the camp, on week one, they're probably, getting off the couch and onto a bike, and, they're going to struggle to complete the course. But by the end of the 6-week camp, like, they're probably rocking it out. And just to be able to show the parents, like, the difference that this program made, this may have been the very first time that they ever even rode a bike, or they might be, super competitive and, going after it hard. But the metrics still speak, pretty loudly for the individual, and for the parents, but more importantly for the program and the donors. Like, last year they literally tripled the amount of kids that they got on bikes.
Awesome.
And they're hoping to grow and expand even more this year into the Grand Haven area. And to be able to have some tangible metrics to show, like, hey, we not only had 3,000 kids on bikes, but we rode, how many thousands of miles with these kids.
Totally.
Like, that would be pretty cool. And my thought would be, like, especially for the first time riders, like, this device could even have a camera. I think of a product that Scott had made a while back, that actually captured the moment.
And Russell.
Like, how cool would it be to capture the kid's very first time for actually, riding a bike, and be able to, Scott, you could have that as your year highlight video, that it sends it back to you, like, hey, so-and-so, your kid, rode their bike for the very first time. And, oh, by the way, here's the video of it.
That's great.
It's all existing components.
I was just going to say, all of this has been commoditized before. 100%.
GPS, camera,
even
some
bike
kind of cellular
computers is a
connection.
category of thing, but I don't think there's distributed bike computers where a fleet is reporting back to, like, a central tracking thing that like the admin is keeping track of all that stuff. I had this exact same problem that you're describing, but with pedometers. Someone came to me at Hope College and said, we want to measure across all these different employees in our dining area how many steps they all take to see if we can make some of their, like, trips across the kitchen more efficient. Some of these employees walk 8,000 steps a day, and some walk 20,000 steps. That's because they're the baker that has to go over to the mixing station, then all the way across to the oven, and we want to know where we should put the oven, right? And I found one company that targets K-12 schools that is like everyone gets a pedometer, and then when they're done at the end of gym class, they snap their pedometers in, and it just, like, collects all the information on the computer. You want that, right? Where you've got, like, all these bikes
exactly
with the clipped on computers, and then at the very end you get back your mileage and your bike number 12 went on this way, and here's their map, and you don't have to, like, worry about making accounts for all these different trackers and getting the data somehow. Dude, that'd be so cool.
I love that, Leo. And for you, Richard, because, like, that solves all the battery charging issues. We don't need, because you're constantly going back, you're just cycling those guys, the data gets downloaded, we don't need wireless anymore. I did kind of like the idea of a giant mesh network of a bunch of 6-year-olds on bikes and Bluetooth going around, but this is, I really like that.
Even
Leo.
during the event, you could have, like, the leaderboard of who's in, like, what place, and wow, so and so's gone and they're in number 1 or whatever,
I mean, this is just the Lime scooter technology minus the scooter, right? You take all I'm sure that those, like, micro sims and all that stuff, you just get a little box, you stick it exactly as Leo said, like, boom, throw it on every bike. That technology's out there. It's super cheap. It's just probably a small subscription if you want to use sim. If you don't, it probably is just like GPS or something. You can just create a different set of options. It's awesome.
Local Wi-Fi network or something.
Sure. Zigbee.
Yeah, just a massive Wi-Fi network over everything. Leo, what you're saying, though, like, this is like a niche case for that. But if you truly had a device that snaps in, like you said, and had an accelerometer and GPS and all those fun things, there's probably a million applications for that.
Totally. And any factory.
Any kind of manufacturing on there.
It's like a supercharged AirTag.
Smart AirTag.
With, like, network, taking the AirTag to the next level, right?
Yeah.
And they're already pedaling to make power. You got to make it so that it's hooked up to the wheel, so that there's a little magnet that's, like, slowly generating an electric current to keep it charged.
Sure. Just shake it,
Or a little wind turbine on the front that's spinning.
A little beanie. Can't get over the amount of applications that could have this. If you had a closed system where, hey, I know all these tags are going to be back at the end of X time, in my possession where I can charge, download data, and figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
Your pedometer one's a great example.
I mean, this might be good for like, I don't know, playgrounds, or like if you have camps, right, with a bunch of kids, you know, you don't want to lose a kid.
Give them ankle bracelets.
You know, just like if if you have like a camp where you have 1,000 campers, like it's kind of like a peace of mind aspect. Like, oh, we are missing a kid now. Just it'd be nice to know where they are very quickly. Maybe it's a safety thing for parents, right? Because like if you're gonna have your kid off walking around in the woods, they're in middle school. Like there's a lot of camp adventures that you kind of want them to go explore, but you don't want them to
find a bear.
or just go somewhere they shouldn't, or they get lost. Like it'd be kind of cool to allow kids to like go on a set of trails, and know that we can find them at the end of the day if they happen to go make a right instead of a left, right? Mm-hmm. Tons of adventure like camps out there would need something like this for sure.
Yeah. I think of athletic teams too, like track teams or cross country team.
Yeah.
Like imagine a real-time dashboard for a coach at a track meet that you could see your athletes and how they're performing. And if from that perspective, if you were able to kind of overlay some of their recent training to see if they're like, if they're going to get one of their personal best, or, if they're not having the greatest of a day or whatever. And then, and if they're running more than one event, like you could really kind of connect with them in between races and say, hey, like, you're underperforming today, or man, you're killing it today. What are you doing different today that you did, at, training over the past week or two?
That's great. As far as implementation goes, it's fun to dream up the hardware and how we would assemble from basic components, but you could probably do this with software only on an Apple Watch type thing, where like either they're using their own device and you somehow register it into your session that you are managing, or you have your case of 20 Apple Watches that you already have, and then that has everything you need, right?
Yep, for sure.
True.
You've got GPS, accelerometer, you've got connectivity out, you've got you load up the one app that's on there, and it's somehow talking back home to home base and reporting out all these stats.
That's incredible.
It's basically like Strava or one of those other run apps, but more flexible to a centralized, like I'm in charge of all these different trackers at once.
Mm-hmm. All you need then is a big charging station for a bunch of them. That's the only hardware you got to make. And then AliExpress, a ton of cheap Android-based smartwatches that you put your own and only your own app on there, and you're done. Mm-hmm. And then sell it for $10,000 to Russell's school.
Yeah.
Or camp.
Yeah, the camp is an interesting thing too.
Mm-hmm. Then you just need a box. You charge, like you can just
a charger
make
box.
A charger box. Yeah, I remember at my hospital, or like when my baby was born, they had like a station with 20 iPhones, and everybody in this nurse's station uses iPhones to communicate to each other with the Epic app. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Really?
iPhone. Yeah.
Why?
Old iPhones, iPhone 13s. I don't know. It's just instead of a walkie-talkie, they use iPhones, right? And so you just take that similar concept, just dock and run, right?
Huh.
I want to do this.
Yeah. It seems like you could get there with just software, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You make your app.
I wonder if that like the scooter technology, or like without the scooter, like you just buy those. I think those are really cheap, actually. Just like those little devices.
A little like head unit.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, like not the whole scooter, but like the SIM card GPS combo, like that's within the scooter itself. You just take those few components out.
No kidding.
And stick it. I think. Yeah, I was looking at this for Nextdoor Photo, like for my photo company, like for tracking media, our photographers. But it was, you can buy like a network. Like there's companies out there that are resellers of scooter tech, and they sell like the SIM card packages and all that stuff. And I think there was one that you could bring your own device. You would buy their technology that would stick on that scooter.
Sure.
But if it doesn't exist, just take the three components and throw it in a, a box.
You're not as constrained. If you decide to go with your original idea, Richard, of like something that's clipped onto the bike, then you're not as constrained for battery and weight and size and stuff. You've got a little bit more room to make something that'll last all day and be a little bit less maintenance than fiddling with, getting watch bands and charging them after a couple hours because they're so small and all that.
The screens too, right? Like just might add a lot of extra, right?
How smart is the smartest bike computer that you could buy just for yourself? Remember how they had like the little like speedometers that you clip onto there and it'll like look at the wheel? Do they have those that track location
Can
and
you
stuff
play
now?
Doom on it?
It'll definitely play Doom, I'm sure. They've got some that are crazy powerful. Some of the Garmin stuff for bikes, and crazy expensive too. But some of them will not only have a GPS and track your ride, but they've got like 4K video capability like built into them.
Wow.
Yeah, some of them are pretty out of this world.
When you said 4K video, for a brief moment, I thought you meant to watch. I was like, so you can like Peloton right into a tree.
You're right.
Yeah, no, dash cam but bike. That's cool.
Bike cam. Yeah.
I still like the smartwatch version of it because there's just so much flexibility there.
You're a little more weight and battery constrained, but then you do get things like heart rate and all that kind of fun stuff too, which is cool.
Body metrics.
The key component is you're saying like swap them each time you change out, recharge. That makes it so much easier.
You could do this for like 5Ks and marathons and stuff too. Get a real-time map of where all your people are, not just by bib number, but because some of the bibs I think are pretty much all smart nowadays, and that's how they'll measure your time. But if you could also get like minute by minute analytics across the whole thing for an optional additional fee, I bet a lot of runners and stuff would sign up for that too.
Absolutely.
A lot of them probably have Garmin watches and stuff though. Somehow being able to take your Garmins and Fitbits and Apple Watches of the world and like contribute that data out to a centralized organizer of an event or something seems like the missing piece there, and a lot of these platforms probably aren't incentivized to give that data away, huh?
Yeah, that could be. I think of running, Girls on the Run, they're getting middle school. Is it middle school? No, it's elementary school girls, and they have a program through the school, and they run together at least one day a week, maybe 2 days a week, and then at the end of the program they all run a 5K.
Oh, cool.
And, they would totally benefit, because a lot of those kids, they're not going to have the smartwatch, but if the program had some that they could loan out to the different schools, because they don't all do the same 5Ks at the same time, right? So if they had a set of these that they could loan out to, the kids at a particular elementary school, and they could, not only use it for training, but then use it to run the race, and then to be able to share that data with family and the program and administrative office or whatever, then they could maybe even use that data to help tailor the program a little bit too.
Yep.
Well, dear listener, if you've chosen to listen to this show instead of Eye of the Tiger while you're running your latest 5K, we're very grateful for your time. Thanks for listening, and hope you enjoyed yourself. And thank you so much, Richard, for joining. This was so fun.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Our website is spitball.show. There you can find our YouTube channel, other social media. Email us comments, feedback, ideas. We'd love to hear from you. We're podcast@spitball.show. That's also how you can follow us on the Fediverse, such as Mastodon. We are podcast@spitball.show. And we're also on Blue Sky at spitball.show. Our subreddit is r/spitball show. Our intro-outro music is Swingers by Bonkers Beat Club. Please, that one runner friend or friend with kids who is always running around and you're like, man, I don't know if they should have a smartwatch yet because they're not old enough. Send them the show. Maybe they'll have some ideas for us. They'd love to hear from us, and we'd love to have them as a listener. Please leave us a review, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and new episodes coming out in 2 weeks. We will see you then.